face-to-face, getting our leaders to meet our people in person. Sometimes you might find your leaders are a little bit reluctant to do it. I think it's our job as internal communicators to encourage them, to support them. You'll find the more they do it, the more they enjoy it. Our insight tells us that although we have a whole range of channels to use to engage with our people, that's the format that they trust the most. That's the route by which we build trust within our leaders. So encourage all your leaders to get out there, to do it. You can't engage enough, and I guarantee the more they do it, the more they'll enjoy it.
Top tips for getting your leaders engaging: play to their strengths. You cannot make an introverted leader be extroverted. Think about how they come across and where their natural comfort zone is. The number one. Number two, telling stories. We all like to hear stories of narratives and how people, where people have come from. This really makes them accessible. So use the power of storytelling, and including showing some degree of vulnerability of how your leaders have had the ups and downs. Follow it through to the end. Number three is around using data and evaluation. So play back those stats and figures along, weaving that in with the storytelling to show the power of what these things have on staff. So wellbeing measures, not just the people survey, but continually gather data and show this evidence. And number four, leadership is not just about broadcast, it's far more about a dialogue. So listening to the staff and how getting your leaders in environments where they can to listen to staff through a whole range of things, be that web chats, be that town halls, be that Skype calls, be that live streaming. Consistency is key. So whatever forum or channel you're using with your leaders, the same message, repeating that in different ways will appeal to different audiences.
Some of the kind of tips for engaging our senior leaders. So I think one example I have is how we support our permanent secretary in helping him to engage with 6,500 people in the Department for Education. And one of the ways we support him in doing that is by allowing him to do a video log every week. So that helps him be in more places that he can physically be. Obviously he does visit and kind of engage with teams on a face-to-face basis, but actually allowing him to talk to camera, be authentic and kind of communicate what's going on at the top of the department kind of really helps to kind of keep him visible and actually helps everybody in the department understand actually, how the department is being, well led or run, any issues, any challenges. So that's one kind of example. Another thing more broadly is kind of some of the tips that I would say people can think about. Sometimes what I do is how you bring nuggets of insight to your senior leaders to help them engage. So it's not just about kind of the message, is being in as many kind of useful meetings as possible. So often as a head of internal communications, I'm in different forums, so that allows me to bring in insights it could be from our focus groups, it could be kind of alongside with our stakeholders, but really drawing on those and kind of, putting that into the meeting room with the senior leaders so that they can understand how they want to use that information, shape their kind of local comms, or help them think about how they want to communicate when they go back into their areas. So it's really also about kind of hearing and bringing in those nuggets of insights and using them at the most appropriate time. Sometimes a full dashboard is very helpful, but actually you need to bring it to life and kind of you think about how you use that.
So my top tip on to get leaders engaging is to play to their strengths. Now we have a number of channels that we can use to support leaders in their engagement, be it face-to-face or articles on the intranet, vlogs, blogs, dial-ins or whatever it might be. But I think it's our role as internal comms specialists to be their trusted advisors and recognise where they're comfortable and where they're less comfortable. Every leader is absolutely different. So, for example, some senior leaders in particular actually aren't very good in front of a big town hall, but they become much more comfortable and frank and authentic when they're talking to smaller face-to-face groups of, say, 6 or 8 or a dozen. There are others who are absolute natural bloggers and are very happy to interact with the comments and answer the questions, and others who just find that a lot more difficult. Likewise, there are some senior leaders who are very, very good at fielding dial-ins and answering questions, and indeed, really importantly for leaders, being ready to admit when they don't know something rather than try and fluff their way through it. So I think the real thing we've got to do is to get under the skin, us as internal comms people, get under the skin of our senior leaders, really try and work out where they're comfortable, where they're going to come across best, where they're going to engage more effectively.